It's literally like 12 pages of Lizzie being happy, and then jump scare, there's Mark. Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome. As the time has finally come, Lizzie Young is here. Huey Biggs is here. I'm so excited. If you guys have been following me for a while, you will know that I have been craving Huey and Lizzie for years now. 4 years. Check out my Redeeming 6 vlog. You will see that vlog from like almost 2.5 years ago. I was eating up the Huey and Lizzie crumbs, like just the very small crumbs. But the time has finally come to read Releasing 10. The time has finally come for my mental health to take an absolute dive this summer. But I'm ready for it, you guys. It's time. All right, so spoiler alert. This is Ashley from the future because I suck at filming intros for vlogs. I really do. So I'm done. It is July 6th as I am filming this. This took me about a month, you guys, and I do apologize because I've had so many people that have been extremely patient and so kind with DMs, but you guys have been waiting for my thoughts on this book, and this is a long vlog, and because I am going to give you all of my thoughts. This was a rough one. This really was. Like I said, it took me a month. There was a lot of pauses. There was a lot of pacing around the room. There was a period where I actually got sick. It was just a lot. Now, I also did make the decision to not show myself crying, having raw reactions. I do apologize if a lot of you wanted that, but I just decided when I got through a certain chunk of this book that I just couldn't do that. It's just my own privacy. I could turn the camera on and cry and curl up into a ball on the floor for views, but this was just a really heavy, hard book, and I don't know, a lot of my emotions were very private. Like, I didn't even want my family in the house when I was reading it. I just really kept to myself. So, but I do talk about the book. Trust me, when I get to parts, I will talk about it and everything, but if you wanted like raw reactions of me bawling on camera, I'm really sorry, but you will not find that in this vlog. Just like all of my other Boys of Tommen vlogs, this is going to be spoiler filled, so if you have not read the book yet and you don't want spoilers, I probably would not watch this vlog. Now, if you are coming here from my tandem reread vlog, welcome. In this vlog, I did continue rewatching One Tree Hill like I did in that last vlog. And I'm on season 3 right now, and I have to say that season 3 and all of the tragedy and trauma that happens to Peyton Sawyer, yeah, there was something about that, having that on in the background with the tragedy and trauma that happens to Lizzie. I know that Chloe wrote Lizzie based off of herself, but I am so convinced that she took parts of Peyton Sawyer and Marissa Cooper from the OC to make Lizzie Young. And I think that's why I love Lizzie so young. I love the complex, hated female character. Peyton's my favorite in One Tree Hill. She always has been, and I know that is such an unpopular opinion. But seriously, watching especially season 3 of One Tree Hill, and just all of that bad stuff that happens to Peyton, that really set quite an ambiance, I have to say. But anyway, I'm going to shut up in this intro, and let's just start this emotional, trauma-filled journey. All right, it is 8:45 p.m. Saturday night, and after pacing my basement for like the last hour and a half to 2 hours, I think I'm finally ready to start. I don't know. Oh my God. I've literally waited for this couple for over 2 years now, and I can't find myself ready to start this book. Like, earlier tonight, I sat down and I went through all of the songs in here, and I put together a playlist on my Spotify that I could just easily follow. Like, I got new tabs and everything. I got all my I'm ready, but I'm not ready. I'm scared, and I think a huge reason to that is because we don't have a release date for the next book. Now, I am currently living in Delululand with a lot of people, hoping that Chloe will announce it on Monday the 9th for Lizzie's actual birthday. That would just be so cool, but like, I've had so much of this book spoiled for me. So if you are joining me after my tandem reread vlog, you will know that, yeah, a lot of this book has been spoiled for me. And so I don't know what to feel. So I think I just need to start reading it. That's all that needs to happen. So I was kind of debating on whether or not I wanted to just sit and listen to music and fully immerse myself in this. But at the same time, I get really bad anxiety with this kind of stuff. And I am a person that likes to have the TV on in the background when I am reading, just because I don't like being alone with my thoughts. Like I said, if you're joining me from my tandem reread vlog, you'll know that I've been watching One Tree Hill and I'm at the beginning of season 3. So I might just have that on in the background, like with low volume, just because I feel like I need it, especially with the things that I know are going to be happening in this book. But yeah, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna maybe pace around the room a few more times. I'm gonna text a few of my buddies that are like currently reading this, and yeah, maybe I need another Dr. Pepper. Yeah, let's get another Dr. Pepper and then we'll go from there. I still cannot like start this book. And the thing too is I've read the first 92 pages. The first 92 pages were leaked at the beginning of May from like a bookstore or something. And so, of course, my curiosity, I read it. So I know like the really first sick and disgusting thing. This is a spoiler-filled vlog, so yeah, I guess I'll just talk. So I do know that, like, in the very beginning of this book, I know that Mark sexually assaults Lizzie, like, when she's 5 or something. I want to read this book so bad. Starting it, look what this series has done to me. Look what it's done to me. Okay, I need to do this. I need to do this because I need the good, okay? I need the good. I need the Huey stuff. I need the connection. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it. See, I'm going insane. I'm scared to start this. I sound like a manic person. I sound like an insane person. I really do. In all fairness, though, to me, I did recently find out that not only do I have ADHD, I also am autistic. So I'm a mess. And so this is making me even more of a mess. And I need to just shut up and take a really big sip of a Dr. Pepper. And I just need to start this. Oh my God.
Somebody's detain me!
Okay. Let's try this again. I don't know how much I can do. I am on page 38, Christmas of 1993. So if you know this book, you know exactly where I'm at. Like I said, I've actually read this part already, but I'm annotating, so I'm going really slow, and I've read this part. I know exactly what happens, and I don't want to read it again. I don't want to read it again. So I don't know if I'm going to skim over it, but I still want to annotate it. I don't know. I literally feel sick to my stomach. And here's the thing. The entire month of May, I was really, really sick. Like, I swear to God, I think I developed a stress ulcer from a lot of things that were going on in my life. And so I was sick to my stomach a lot. So I don't know if the two are related, but I feel sick. You know, the thing with the Lynch story is, as much as I hate Teddy Lynch, I can still reread those 4 books over and over and over and over again. And I just have a feeling rereading Lizzie's story, I'm going to have to skip over certain parts because I can't do it. The gaslighting, the non-supportive family, Mark himself is just, yeah. So I might take a little breather. I might go upstairs, maybe make a snack, maybe make a little bit more of an alcoholic beverage. Maybe that might help. I don't know. But yeah, I might take a little bit of a breather before I jump back into this chapter. But one of my friends, she is gonna go back and start this book again. She's already read it, and she's gonna annotate and buddy read with me. So it might help if we're kind of on this part together. So yeah, we're going very, very slow here. So do you guys remember when I said I felt like throwing up after reading the Christmas 1993 chapter? Yeah, so funny story. I ended up getting sick and throwing up the entire rest of the night into the next morning. To make a long story short, I was born with a chronic stomach condition, and I haven't had any episodes in a long time, but like for the last 6 weeks, I am just going through these long periods of total fatigue, exhaustion, nausea, dizziness, and it makes it hard to do anything, but I have felt a lot better. It's actually been 9 days since this happened, but literally for 7 of those days, I was just sleeping a lot because it really knocks me out. It takes a lot out of me. But I've read a little bit more since then. I actually did the audiobook. I had a lot of errands that I had to run on Friday, and so I just decided to pop that in and see how much more I could get caught up with. And I did get past Halloween, when she is officially invited to Huey's birthday and she meets Gibbsy and Feely, and they officially include her in their group. And this was just like the cutest part. I absolutely loved these scenes. I'm kind of going back and annotating them, and there's so much happiness to it. You know, I know it can be weird reading about a romance, but you have to go back to when they're little, but it's so innocent and it's so sweet. And I just love how Lizzie notes that Huey makes her feel good in her tummy, and he was the one that helped her with a panic attack, and she notes that that's the first time that someone's ever been able to help her. And like I said, I was just smiling during this whole section because just nothing bad was happening to Lizzie. Even Kiva was getting her ready for this party, which she appreciated, but she didn't have to deal with anything bad. She got to get picked up by her best friend. She got to meet Huey, and they really, really bonded. And then through a series of events, she gets invited to spend the night along with Feely and Gibbsy. And they officially, like, they have this scene where they vote on it. They're like all in favor of making Lizzie the 5th member. And it was the sweetest moment. And this is why, so I don't think I talked about this in my tandem vlog. There is something that is stated in Taming 7 that has always bothered me. And it's at the end when Johnny basically draws the line in the sand. Claire, in her inner monologue, states that our leader has made the decision. And I think it's such bullshit to make Johnny the leader of this group. I'm sorry. I love Johnny. I love Mr. Rugby, but like this scene right here, this just proved it to me. I think if you're going to have a leader of this large group, it should be somebody from the very beginning. And Johnny has been proven over and over that he knows nothing about his friends. And so that's why I'm really interested to get to the part in Releasing 10 when he shows up, because in Taming 7, it's clearly stated that he had no idea that Huey and Lizzie were ever a thing. But I have not really read any more since then, because this brings me to my next point. So far in this book, whenever you get just a little remote inkling of Lizzie being happy, it's ruined the very next chapter by Mark. Like literally, it is a jump scare. She is happy and then it is instantly taken away from her. So the very next day after she spends the night, she's up in her room, and I believe at this time their mom is going through some cancer treatment. So currently there is no parents staying in the house. And Kiva falls asleep on the couch, and Lizzie is just in her room and reading, and she's thinking about Huey and this amazing time she had and these friends she made. And then Mark comes into her room and shuts the door, and she notes instantly that her tummy doesn't feel good. He doesn't make her feel good anymore, because it is noted when she first meets him that he was her friend, made the scary feelings go away. But now that she's met Huey and some real friends, now she's starting to note that Mark is scary and he doesn't make her feel good. And she also says that she can't say anything. She has to lie because she's scared of him. And it's just, like I said, it's so hard to read all of this happy Lizzie stuff, because it's literally like 12 pages of Lizzie being happy, and then jump scare, there's Mark. It's so hard. So that is literally where I left off, was Mark coming in her room and just ruining that really, really great time that she had making new friends. So it's been a few days. I am feeling a lot better. I am gonna read as much as I can today. Like I said, this one is a hard one, because every time you have a moment of Lizzie happiness, it is taken away very quickly. And this is just so different for me, like, than reading Saving Six and Joey's prequel, because for me, the whole sexual assault thing, especially in children, it's harder for me to read than physical abuse and drug abuse. We all have our triggers and everything like that, but with Joey, I don't know, it was just easy to fly through it, whereas this one, you have to take so many mental pauses. And in fact, over the weekend, I did end up reading something else. I'm a big KV Rose fan. I've talked about her on this channel a little bit, but she dropped a new release on Friday the 13th. And this book is so unhinged, and it's really, really been helping me. So I think what my plan for today is I will read as much Releasing 10 as my mental health and my tummy can handle. And then if it's starting to get to be too much, then I'm going to swap over to my Kindle read. But like that, for now, that's kind of the plan. But really quickly before I go read and do other adult things, I wanted to show you guys the mail I got today. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for almost 2 weeks for this. This was a little expensive. It was on the TikTok shop, but I have been searching high and low for a Huey Big shirt, and they are hard to find. But like, this was like $60 with tax and shipping, but you know what? I love it. So I'm gonna show you guys. This is the front, and from this shop, you can get any of the 4 guys that have had a book. So no love for Feely yet, but I am obsessed with this, and you can get them in a lot of different colors, and I got ivory, but I'm probably going to be living in this shirt for a while. So if you see me in videos and stories on Instagram and posts and everything wearing this, just ignore that, because you know what? We all have our comfort t-shirts and sweatshirts, and this is a new one of mine. Alrighty, it has been quite a bit. It is actually Friday night. I think I last updated you guys on Monday, but it's kind of been a crazy week. My birthday was yesterday, and to be honest, I've really done a lot of the audiobook this week, and so I don't really film myself when I'm listening to the audiobook because I'm running around like doing errands and stuff. So I really haven't filmed much or talked much. I mean, I've read a lot. There's a lot of depression, and there is a lot to dissect, but it's just, this is a hard vlog, you guys. This is a really hard book. I love this series so much. I have vlogged this series so much, but this one's a doozy. Like, this one, you really have to take a lot of mental breaks with it. I can't even describe it. But I am halfway through this book. No, I'm not even halfway. I'm almost halfway, but I actually have a deadline now. You know, I was taking my sweet ass time with this, but I actually got invited to join a live TikTok show tomorrow to discuss this series, and I kind of need to finish this by tomorrow. Even though I know all of the spoilers in this book, I still need to read it just so I can have all of the dialogue and all of the plot details and stuff like that. So I really need to hustle my ass, because as of right now, I have like 26 hours. And realistically, I could finish this book in a couple hours. But I'm annotating it, and I'm taking a lot of deep mental health breaks. I pace around the room. Every time the monster reappears, I need to close the book, take a lap around the house, couple jogs up and down the stairs. It's just, I even took like a walk around the block yesterday. It was my birthday, but once I finally had a chance to sit down, yeah, I needed a pause. I needed to go take a walk around the block, because it's a lot, you guys. It's so much. Last update was Halloween, Huey's birthday, when Lizzie basically gets to join the friend group for the first time. And I know I talked a little bit about that in my last update, but it was just the sweetest chapter, because Gibbsy even makes a comment about how they were a square because there were 4 of them, and 5 makes a star, and a star is better than a square. And that is the first thing I actually want to touch on, is Lizzie and Gibbsy. The tragedy of the story of the Viper and Thor is absolutely going to gut my heart. They have the most wholesome friendship. You know, like I said, Lizzie gets involved in this group, and there are 5 of them, and you know, she can sense when Gibbsy is sad, and she's just always there for him, and they comfort each other and they stick up for each other. And actually, it was really a bit of a surprise to me to learn that Viper and Thor were their nicknames of endearment for each other. Those were the nicknames they gave each other as kids, and they weren't malicious. They didn't have mean intent. They were just little goofy kid nicknames. And I am about to get to the part where their friendship is going to be done, and it's absolutely devastating me. It's part of the reason I'm going so slow, because I don't want to get to that point. I know that that is basically why we have to get to where we are. This whole Gibbsy Lizzie thing is the focal point of this current arc of where we are at in this Boys of Tommen story. And it's devastating. You have several instances in here where you can tell they want to tell each other stuff about Mark, because they are both so uncomfortable around Mark. And even Huey notices that. He notes that whenever Mark is around Lizzie, she holds his hand really tight, like the same as Gibbsy does. And there is this scene in here where they are all at Lizzie's house, I believe, and Mark is being really mean to Gibbsy, like a huge dick. And Lizzie just kind of takes his hand and takes him up to her room and shuts the door. And this is the first time they kind of start talking about it. And they both talk about what Mark does, but they don't allude that it's being done to them. They both kind of allude that he does it to Kiva. And it's so heartbreaking, because there are just so many instances in this book where they are so close. And not just them, but like Lizzie is so close to Huey finding out and telling parents, and it's just, that's this book. You're so close to getting it, and then you just don't. And then you're absolutely devastated and torn and heartbroken and shattered. And this Lizzie Gibbsy thing, it's destroying me way more than I ever thought it was going to do it in the first place. They stick up for each other. They are there for each other. And like I said, I'm a few chapters away from that point. Like, I think the next part is called The Great Divide. And it literally sets up to where you are in present day. And it's so devastating because I have spent almost 300 pages, actually over 300 pages now, of these guys having this sweetest, wholesome friendship group. And like I said, Gibbsy and Lizzie, they kind of confide in each other. They both are aware that the other is afraid of Mark. But then you can tell Mark is behind the scenes manipulating the both of them to make sure the pieces are in place so that he never gets caught. And it's like I said, it's so devastating because they're constantly so close to revealing it. And then it never happens. So the Lizzie Gibbsy stuff aside, I mean, like I said, there is just so many instances in this book so far of you're this close. So there is a part in this book when they are about 10 years old, and Huey is injured in his groin area, like he sore or something. And Lizzie, because she has been manipulated and groomed into thinking that this is a magic medicine healing touch, she goes over to him and tries to heal him. And he's like, whoa, what are you doing? We can't touch each other like that. Only grown-ups who love each other can touch each other like that. And this is the first time that anyone has told her that that's not okay. Now, obviously, Huey doesn't know what's going on because he's like, whoa, what? Why are you freaking out, Lizzie? And this basically causes her to have a manic episode, and she totally spirals out of control. She gets home and she's sobbing in her room going, I'm bad. Huey hates me. I'm a bad girl. And her sister tries to talk to her, and Lizzie's like, it's your fault. You brought the monster here. You brought the monster, and you've got it. But Lizzie's dad, being not a great parent, which I will go into a lot more deep dive on that later, he basically at that point takes control of Lizzie's medical care. Up until this point, Catherine had kind of had the final say, and she had kind of been saying, we'll do the medicine like in waves, my way, but we're not institutionalizing her. And this episode causes him to be like, nope, we're done. She's getting checked in. We are done. And literally the very next chapter, Lizzie is drugged out of her mind, and you can just see the doctors. Basically, she had it, and she was screaming at her parents and her sister, you let the monster in. And then she gets institutionalized and drugged, and then all of a sudden, that realization, it's gone forever. And when I mean gone forever, it is gone. Lizzie, up until this point with Huey, she basically was kind of aware what was happening to her because, like I said, Mark had manipulated her in a way of saying that he had a magical medicine touch because Lizzie's mother has cancer. And so this is a big part of how he is able to manipulate her, is he says, you will die and you will get sick, but I have to touch you, and And so Lizzie is kind of always aware of that because in her POV when she's little, she'll even say, I don't want this, but I don't want to die, I don't want to get sick, I have to do this. And then as soon as Huey tells her that is a no-no, it all clicks for her. Like I said, she has it, and she breaks down and she freaks out on her family. She's like, you let the monster in. And after that, from that point on, everything with Mark, she all thinks it's in her head. Every single time he slips into her bedroom, she thinks it's in her mind. And one of the most devastating things that I highlighted in this was after the fact, it's right when she gets home, because she says that it's okay because when she's dreaming, she's in the scary place, but when she's awake, she's always free. And how wrong that statement is. And it absolutely breaks my heart because I'm a parent, And I said this in my Taming 7 vlog when it came to Gibbsy and his whole reveal, because I don't like Gibbsy's mother. I don't. I think when your child tries to tell you that they don't like someone, that they scare you for a long time, and you don't even entertain that idea. I mean, listen, I get Lizzie has always spiraled. She's always had this history of these tantrums and lashing out and becoming violent. And I know her dad just can't do it. But, I mean, even the doctors, she had it, you guys. She had it. And then from this point on, she always thinks it's a dream. Every single time she thinks it's a dream. I don't want to talk just all about devastation, because as much as this book is devastating, there are some really great shining lights. And I have to say, Huey Biggs, he might beat Joey Lynch for me, you guys. I know that's absolutely insane to say, but the emotional maturity that this young man has, I will say, here's the thing, for all of you Big Claire and Gibbsy lovers out there, the Biggs siblings are very one and the same, okay? In the sense that they have their soulmate and they want to latch on to them and be their caretaker, basically. And Huey's basically been Lizzie's caretaker since they met. And when he finds out that she has bipolar disorder, he goes to the library. He does all of the research that he can to make sure that he has the tools and the knowledge and the resources to help her. Like, as soon as he found out, he was there for her, and then he did what he could to make sure he can continue to be there for her. And just coming from a kid, that's insane. And I mean, I know it's fiction, but you know, there are kids out there that have to grow up a little quickly. And I love Huey. I love the way he's written. I love that he's very, very smart. I love that he's a reader. I love that they're both readers. Here is the thing that I absolutely love about him. The thing that he loves about Lizzie, the thing that he loves the most about her, is her mind. He loves how smart she is. She's a reader too. They have a lot of scenes where they are just in a room together, just reading. And Lizzie notes that a lot, that the reason that she's so comfortable around Huey is because they can just sit in a room without having the stress of talking. She also notes that about Shannon, and that's another thing I want to talk about, is she said she loves her friendship with Shannon because there's no stress. They don't have to make small talk. They can just sit there, and Shannon is a person that makes her feel comfortable. And I was thinking about this in terms of the 13 duet. This is another thing I'm excited to see, because when we get Claiming 10 and we get that timeline in Lizzie's POV, you know, Shannon needed to go to Tommen so that she could feel safe with her friends. And from what I'm reading so far, Lizzie needed Shannon to come to Tommen as well, because at that point she was basically completely alone. I mean, she had Claire, but Claire didn't know the extent of stuff. And so Lizzie needed Shannon as much as Shannon needed to be there as well. But one last thing that I want to touch on Huey is that so far, he does not let up on these parents. You know, the whole boat scene, I have not talked about that. We get that chapter, by the way. The infamous Bethany Joe drowning. Yeah, we got that. And it was honestly one of the worst chapters I've ever listened to. I listened to the audiobook when I was grocery shopping. I cannot believe I did that. I cannot believe I listened to that while I was grocery shopping. And it was horrible. And there is even this one part that Huey notes where everyone is running around scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. And he says that Mark is just standing there with his arms folded across, looking like the devil. And I know there are some theories floating around that maybe he is the one that caused Bethany to fall in the water. And I know that we know from Taming 7 she was chasing a laser pointer. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot about Mark that is evil. I mean, we know there's a lot about Mark that's evil, but I feel like there's a lot more that we don't know. And here is like the most disturbing thought that I had during this whole drowning scene, and is horrible. This statement is so horrible. Like, oh my God. If Bethany hadn't have drowned that day, she would have been one of Mark's victims. That little girl, she would have been one of Mark's victims too. And that just, I can't anymore, you guys. I seriously can't. I have a lot more to say about this first half of the book, but I can't keep rambling on because I really need to finish this book, and I will have a lot more to talk about. But before I go back downstairs and before I start reading, I will tell you that I am at April 2000. And if you've read this book, you know April 2000. So I just started the chapter where Lizzie had the miscarriage. I was going to talk about this in another clip, but I guess I'll talk about it right now. So Lizzie was pregnant at 11 fucking years old. So here's what I will say about these Mark monster scenes. As hard as this book is to read, I do appreciate the way it is written because it's not like you're fully reading the scene. Chloe has it written out in like just these faded memory quotes, like his dialogue, and it's like fading in and out of her. And so at the very beginning of April, basically Catherine's, her cancer is doing really, really bad. And so they have to go to America for like some drug treatment, and they're gonna be gone for like the whole month. And so Mike and Catherine have actually gone ahead without the girls. The girls are going to join them. And so this chapter basically starts out with a hanger schmortion. Yeah. You don't really know details, but you basically are under the consensus that she was far enough along to have a little bit of a bump, because he does make the statement, I'll be a dead man if that belly of yours gets any bigger. Now, basically after you have this little fuzzy dialogue, like I said, of her memory fading in and out, you have Huey checking on her after school. Because like I said, Chloe has these monster scenes written in a way where it's her memory fading in and out. And literally right after you read that dialogue of the hanger, you have Huey showing up at her house because she didn't go to school, and he walks in her living room and she's just like in a daze, completely naked. And he's like, where's your clothes? He immediately takes his sweater off, puts it on her, takes care of her, and then she gets the worst stomach ache, back pain of her life, and he takes her up to the bathroom, and she goes in by herself, and she does note a very large clump on the bathroom floor. And she notes that it looked like a monster, looked like a creature. And she's 11 years old. My daughter is 10 years old. This is why, I am not going to police what people read or anything like that, but this is why this was so irresponsible on Bloom's to market this as YA. Because I really think that you need to have a more mature worldview to read this series. Because I'm just saying that just because you have a story and characters where they're a younger age, it doesn't mean the material is for people that same age. Like, look at Euphoria. Should 15, 16-year-olds be watching Euphoria? I mean, seriously. And so as an adult, I'm able to look at this in a certain lens. And like, as a parent, I'm able to really look at the decisions and that these parents make and the things that they miss. And this Lizzie thing, just 11 years old. And And she just, the thing is I didn't mention this before, because of her bipolar disorder, the doctors did state that she probably would start menstruating earlier. And so obviously because she had a miscarriage, she had periods. And so she just thought this was a really bad period. I mean, there's nobody to explain these things for her. And Kiva just always kind of laughs things off, makes it into an attitude. You know, Kiva's always had a problem with Lizzie. That's another thing. I did not think before I started this book that Kiva was going to be such a bitch to Lizzie, because we've had this narrative for 5 books that Kiva was the greatest. Now, obviously, Taming 7, that narrative was totally undone at the end, but I had just thought, like, at least she was this great older sister, and she's not. I mean, Lizzie tries to tell her the monster, and they call her a Looney Tune, basically. Okay, my camera briefly died, so angle's different, whatever, but that's probably an indication to stop rambling about the first half of this book, because there's way more to read. So, like I said, I literally left off at that part. So Mark and Kiva are about to come home from Gibsie's house. This is literally when Kiva finds it. And so I know from spoilers and everything on TikTok that Mark is basically going to hold these 2 girls hostage for about 3 weeks before Kiva's dead. So yeah. It is 1 o'clock in the morning, Friday night, I guess, into Saturday morning. I have until 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Saturday, tomorrow, to finish this. So let's go drain my mental health.
Mine's out to sea, or dead, or vanished. Hi, collect our whole Nathan Scott. But they stole a couple of designs. They didn't steal your talent. Sure, you got more. Couple unfinished dresses. Listen, we'll put together a website, and we'll sell them ourselves. You need help? Yeah, I need help you. You have to help yourself first, though, Missy. Clothes over bros? Clothes over bros.
So the sun is rising, so I should probably go to bed. We'll dissect it in the morning. Okay, it is about 11:30 Saturday. As you guys can see, I stayed up really late till the sun came up. That was like my cue to go to bed. I did not get as far as I wanted to. I read like the whole time I was downstairs. Like I didn't really take any pauses, but because I'm annotating and because this is just such a heavy book where I have to literally pace around the room, this is hard. And I only got through that whole April section and then the summer of Huey trying to take care of Lizzie after what happens to Kiva. And it's a lot. But I do want to say, in terms of the night that Kiva dies, we finally get a few missing pieces that we needed from Taming 7, because the thing with Taming 7 is Taming 7 just left so many people angry. That was the problem with it. Like when we got the reveal about Gibbsy, you just had so many people hating on Kiva and Lizzie even more. And even myself, when I read that, I was like, did she really find out the truth about Gibbsy, go home, write a letter, and then just jump in the bridge? And I thought that was weird at the time, because I was like, well, if she wasn't the one attacked, like, but she saw this, like, I get seeing something like that happening could traumatize you, but it's still, the pieces didn't click for me at that point. And now we still have a lot of missing pieces. Obviously, we don't know what happens during. I mean, Mark literally keeps these two girls locked in the house for 3 weeks, and we don't know what happens. We just have these little snippets of Lizzie's faded memory. But the consensus basically is that Mark locked him in the house. I'm pretty sure he was drugging Kiva based on what I read. And then here's where I get a little confused, because Huey says in the stories Mike was talking to Kiva on the phone those entire 3 weeks. So what I'm wondering and thinking is if like Mark literally had like a knife or a gun at her throat, made her call her dad and check in, stuff like that. But I mean, here's the thing, you guys. I don't think Kiva killed herself. I really don't. I think it's pretty obvious what happened here. I mean, we still don't know a lot of details. There could be a little bit missing there. But I mean, literally, Lizzie has this memory of, she says that Mark is putting her sister's limp body in the car. And Lizzie's like, why isn't she waking up? And he's like, she's fine, she's fine. And he's literally driving her to the bridge. So, I mean, obviously there are still missing pieces there, but I mean, I think after the disaster that was Taming 7, it's not that simple. You cannot label Kiva Young this devil anymore. Here's the thing with all of these characters, it is not that simple. But here is the one simple fact. Mark Allen is the devil. We all like to have our arguments on YouTube, on TikTok, on Bookstagram, on Twitter about these characters and who is the biggest fan and who is in the wrong and who is in the right. But here's one thing that we all have to agree on. Mark is the devil. Mark is the problem. Mark has always been the problem, and everybody else is just an extension of that. It is about 11:30 Saturday. As you guys can see, I stayed up really late till the sun came up. That was like my cue to go to bed. I did not get as far as I wanted to. I read like the whole time I was downstairs. Like I didn't really take any pauses, but because I'm annotating and because this is just such a heavy book where I have to literally pace around the room, this is hard. And I only got through that whole April section and then the summer of Huey trying to take care of Lizzie after what happens to Kiva. It's a lot. But I do want to say, in terms of the night that Kiva dies, we finally get a few missing pieces that we needed from Taming 7, because the thing with Taming 7 is Taming 7 just left so many people angry. That was the problem with it. Like when we got the reveal about Gibbsy, you just had so many people hating on Kiva and Lizzie even more. And even myself, when I read that, I was like, did she really find out the truth about Gibbsy, go home, write a letter, and then just jump in the bridge? And I thought that was weird at the time, because I was like, well, if she she wasn't the one attacked, like, but she saw this. Like, I get seeing something like that happening could traumatize you, but it's still, the pieces didn't click for me at that point. And now we still have a lot of missing pieces. Obviously, we don't know what happens during, I mean, Mark literally keeps these two girls locked in the house for 3 weeks, and we don't know what happens. We just have these little snippets of Lizzie's faded memory. But the consensus basically is that Mark locked him in the house. I'm pretty sure he was drugging Kiva based on what I read. And then here's where I get a little confused, because Huey says in the stories Mike was talking to Kiva on the phone those entire 3 weeks. So what I'm wondering and thinking is if, like, Mark literally had, like, a knife or a gun at her throat, made her call her dad and check in, stuff like that. But, I mean, here's the thing, you guys. I don't think Kiva killed herself. I really don't. I think it's pretty obvious what happened here. I mean, we still don't know a lot of details. There could be a little bit missing there. But, I mean, literally, Lizzie has this memory of, she says that Mark is putting her sister's limp body in the car. And Lizzie's like, why isn't she waking up? And he's like, she's fine, she's fine. And he's literally driving her to the bridge. So, I mean, obviously there are still missing pieces there, but I mean, I think after the disaster that was Taming 7, it's not that simple. You cannot label Kiva Young this devil anymore. Here's the thing with all of these characters, it is not that simple. But here is the one simple fact. Mark Allen is the devil. We all like to have our arguments on YouTube, on TikTok, on Bookstagram, on Twitter about these characters and who is the biggest fan and who is in the wrong and who is in the right. But here's one thing that we all have to agree on. Mark is the devil. Mark is the problem. Mark has always been the problem, and everybody else is just an extension of that. Reading that funeral chapter and literally watching Lizzie and Gibbsie's friendship break apart. I mean, you can see the moment it happens. It ripped me. It ripped me. And you even have Gibbsie after the fact sobbing all summer going, what did I do? Because this is basically what happened. Was Mark, like I said before, he had all of the pieces in place to manipulate these kids, and he made it so the two of them could never talk, could never compare their stories. Even after Kiva was dead, before Mark took off, like at the funeral and stuff, he, like Lizzie notes, he is clamping his hand really hard onto Gibbsie's shoulder and saying things like, you're always okay, bud, right? And to Lizzie, you're always okay, right? He manipulated these two. That is the simple fact. This whole there is no team Lizzie Gibbsie. It is team Lizzie and Gibbsie. Okay? These were children. Lizzie was manipulated by Mark when she was 5. Gibbsie 7. You don't think that has these long-lasting, damaging effects on these people? And the fact that Lizzie and Gibbsie were the bestest of friends, and she even tells Huey that she's so heartbroken over it because she looked at Gibbsie as her brother too. And I just hate Mark Allen so fucking much. So fucking much. But like I said, I got through the summer, and Lizzie, rightfully, as she should, is not dealing with the death of her sister very well. She keeps saying that a piece of her left with her sister. And you know what? I have a sister. And my sister and I do not talk anymore. And so just reading all of these scenes in Lizzie's POV about missing her sister and a piece of her missing, it's so emotionally hard to read. And especially at this point in the book, because I have like maybe 300-ish pages left. And I know it's going to be a little bit of Lizzie Huey happy, but then I just know once Lizzie gets to Tommen, it's basically when it all goes downhill from there. But yeah, like I said, it is 11:30. I have 2.5 hours before I have to go live on TikTok. So I am going to go downstairs. I'm going to finish this bad boy. I think because I am running out of time, I'm probably going to just have to switch to my Kindle and then go back and add annotations later. We will just kind of see. But anyway, that is my morning check-in. And we're going to run through this and try not to crash out. Alrighty guys, it has been about a week, but it's kind of been a crazy week. I did that live show. I did not finish the book, but that was okay. I got through most of it. I know the ending. Anyway, the live show was fun. If you were there, I'm happy you got to see it. But yeah, it's been a week. As you guys can see, I did grab the special edition to Keeping 13. I really, really love it. I've got to figure out how I want to redo my books now because I had it and then I got new art in the mail. I love my art. You guys want to see it? Yeah, maybe I'll do a close-up. Hold on. Okay, I got these off of Instagram, so I will put the link down below, but I'm obsessed with these, and they were actually bigger than I thought they were gonna be. But we have Johnny and Shannon. Ugh, so cute. And then we have Claire and Gibbsy. Joey and Aoife. Love that. And then Huey and Lizzie. But I love these. So I currently like have them standing up, but I might string a string across and like clip them. I don't know. They're big, but I love having them on my shelf. I'm obsessed with looking at them. Anyway, I need to figure out how I want to redisplay this because I have the 2 special editions of the 13 duet I need to put together. I have the Blooms releasing 10. It's just downstairs. I need to rework this whole thing. That's why I want to refilm my bookshelf tour because I had filmed one at the beginning of the month, but I've gotten some new things for my shelf and I would just kind of rather redo it. Anyway, let's move on. So like I said, it has been a week since I've done a check-in, and when I last checked in, it was before the live show, and I had said that I had gotten to past Kiva's funeral and Huey helping Lizzie get through the summer. Up until the live show, I got a lot further, and I actually got to when Lizzie starts at Tommen, and I think it's her 2nd year, and this is basically where she starts to spiral for good. And this is a hard final part of the book, and I'm going to say, as of right now, it's been a week, and I still haven't finished the book. I did go into the live show without finishing it, but that's okay, because like I said, I know the ending plots, and this final part is hard to read. And so literally the last chapter that I read was Lizzie skipping off of the school bus on her first day, being so happy, and Mark surprising her in the woods. And this causes her to spiral. And I literally know what is going to happen next. And I can't find myself to read it. So as of right now, I'm not finished, okay? I'm trying really, really hard. I know you guys have been waiting on this vlog, but I can't do it yet. We still don't have a release date. I know at the beginning of this vlog, I was clowning myself saying, hey, let's get a release date on Lizzie's birthday, but no, we don't have anything. I don't think we're getting anything. I can't find myself to finish this. So that's my check-in for now. And I will check in again when I can, hopefully before the end of the summer. But seriously, you guys, this is really hard. Okay, y'all, so don't hate me. But I have made the executive decision that I am not going to finish this book. I have about 80 pages left. I have read through the breakup. I have read through, the scene where Pierce assaults Lizzie, because we're going to talk about that in a minute, trust me. And the last part I read was Huey and Lizzie blasting Stevie Nicks to each other. So I'm in December of 2003, and I know that literally the next thing that's going to happen is Katie is going to kiss Huey at New Year's Eve. And for my own mental health at this current moment in time, I cannot read these pages, okay? I have said before, and I will say it again, this is very different for me than Joey's duet. For one, we had a release date for Joey's next book, like right away. We knew when Redeeming 6 was coming, okay? This one, we have no idea what is going on. Elle told us on Instagram that there will be no news for the rest of the summer. Chloe has been sharing a lot of playlists, however, on Spotify in her own time. I don't know what's happening. Also, Saving 6 had a very different type of cliffhanger in the sense where Joey and Aoife were broken up, but they weren't really broken up. You knew they were going to get back together within a few weeks, days, whatever. This is not the case, okay? These last 80 pages are going to be Lizzie checking herself into an institution to get better for Huey while Huey is healing himself and moving on with Katie, and I can't do it. I can't read those pages. I will read them, I promise I will, but I am not going to read them until I have a release date for the next book. I cannot do this to myself right now. Just thinking about it, like when I am driving in the car listening to these playlists, I actually start crying thinking about it. I have a really, really hard time when you read books, duets, series, whatever, and your couple is broken up and one half of them is in another relationship. I have a problem reading that, okay? And especially with this, Huey and Lizzie are my absolute favorite couple. Okay, you guys know I have been craving them. I have been wanting them for so long. And I can't do this. I cannot read Lizzie checking herself in to get better for Huey and then Huey moving on. I can't do it. I can't do it, you guys. I cannot do it. So I apologize. I really, really do. But I know what happens. I've basically read the book, okay? I've read the book minus the 80 pages. So, yeah. So let's just talk about the ending, all of that. Okay. So where I had last left off was when Mark attacks Lizzie in the woods. After she has been healing, she has been doing so well. This causes her to spiral, okay? This was on the first day of the new school year. And after this, she is just going into manic episode after manic episode. And what's very tragic about this is prior to this point, Huey and Lizzie had planned that on his 16th birthday, Halloween, they were going to have their first time together. Okay, well, on his birthday, she is having a manic episode, and so it basically causes them to not do anything, and they actually get in a fight from this, and he uninvites her to his birthday party the next night. Okay, she, still having a manic episode, she shows up to his house in a haze. She is also drinking, okay? There's been a lot of discrepancy I've seen about this particular scene. There seem to be some people that under the consensus that Lizzie cheated and that she was not assaulted. So let's go over the facts, okay? Lizzie was in the middle of a manic episode. She is in a daze. She is also drinking. And she shows up at Huey's house and she instantly goes to his room looking for him, okay? She has also noted that while this is happening, she's calling his name. So for the people that say she was cheating, I'm sorry. You are so wrong there. You are absolutely wrong. She was assaulted, hands down. This scene leads to Huey breaking up with her. He made it very clear this entire story that Lizzie's mind, her bipolarness, it wasn't the game-changing factor for him. Cheating was going to be the game-changing decision. And to him, because no one knows the facts, as of right now, in the current timeline we are in, no one knows the facts of this. And he breaks up with her, and this is just the most devastating series of scenes that I have ever read, and I can't believe I kept going, and I did, because they broke up, and then Lizzie started sleeping with Pierce continuously after this. So yeah, to the people that say, oh, well, she cheated. No, she was assaulted on this night, okay? Let's make that very clear. She was assaulted on this night, and she is still going through a manic episode, okay? The doctors made it very clear in this story that her being bipolar is going to cause her to, be horny and stuff like that. Okay, she always wants to be touched. She has also been conditioned by Mark to want to be touched, okay? So when Huey breaks up with her and Pierce is willing to give her what she wants, she's all in. And this hurts Huey more. And like I said, I read to December where they are blasting Stevie Nicks love songs to each other, and after that is when Huey will kiss Katie for the first time. So like I said, I did not read that, but I know the details of it. Okay, so don't come for me. Don't say, hey, why are we talking about the ending, Ashley, when you did not read the ending? I know the ending, okay? I've skimmed it and I've discussed it, but I cannot actually fully immerse myself into it. It will actually kill me, you guys. It will. I am not even kidding. Okay, so I do know that in the fall of 2003, while all of this messiness with Huey and Lizzie is going on, this is when we start to see our first little snippets of Feely getting with Katie. Okay, we have like some things about where have you been. Oh, I've been in music class with the new girl. Okay, on New Year's Eve, it's noted that Katie grabs Huey in kissing him, and that is because Feely is off with Casey. And so I just know that this next book, it is not that simple. Okay, if you have been following my theory videos on TikTok for the last couple weeks, I've been talking about this a lot, but I don't think this story is going to be as simple as Huey and Lizzie cheating on Katie. Okay, I really, really don't. And I think the 90s party, the very beginning of Redeeming Six, I think that is your big key context there, because during that party, Katie doesn't really care that Lizzie and Huey are in the kitchen alone talking. Like, she's not threatened by it at all. She tells Casey and Aoife she does not care. She also gets a ride home from Feely later on in the night after that party. So I think through all of this, like, year and a half, 2 years, however long it's been, I think that these four, it is just this really tangled web. I really, really do. And I think that Katie and Huey use each other as shields, and I think they've been using each other as shields from the very beginning, and it's very clear at the end of this book. I mean, like I said, I didn't read it, but I know from like talking about it, and I know from reading snippets. But yeah, this was a doozy of a book, you guys. This was an absolute freaking doozy. And if you were able to read all of it, bravo. And if you were able to read all of it in a day, bravo, because this thing took me a freaking month and I'm still not even done with it, you guys. I actually chose to not finish this. I'm so ashamed of myself. I did not finish a Boys of Tommen book. But Chloe broke me this time. Chloe actually broke me. And the fact that I don't have any kind of release date for the next book breaks me even more. I've been looking at clues. There are a lot of hinting at an October release date, which I hope is true, because I'm just gonna say this. You guys know from watching all of my Boys of Tommen Let's Chat series, if they wait until 2026 for this book, it's suicide at that point, okay? We all know the disaster of Taming 7 and the radio silence that the publishers decided to do after that. Why? Okay, Taming 7 did not get good reviews, but releasing 10 has been a whole other story. There was a lot of controversy in the first few days, but then, you know, Chloe made her video, people started reading it, really looking at the context behind it, and now it's a different story. This book was like #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. That has to say something. If you seriously wait a whole other year to release the next book after everything that was in this book, the themes, the plot, the context, this was too heavy of a book to leave people hanging that long. Seriously. And you guys know my opinions on the publishers. Chloe is technically released of her contract as of this book, so we will see what happens. But, you know, this was a 6-star read for me, you guys. This was absolutely incredible. Taming 7, you guys know that I was a little disappointed at the ending of that. After recently rereading Taming 7, though, I did change my rating on it. It just, context matters, and when you have missing pieces filled in, it changes your opinion on things, and that is why I absolutely love rereading this series. It is why I love rereading it in timeline order. You just see things differently every single time you do it. But like I said, absolutely perfect. 6-star read, infinity star read. I will be doing another tandem reread for this series when the new book comes out, hopefully in October. You guys, hopefully, or I swear I'm going to crash out. I am going to absolutely crash out. But if we get that release date, I will finish the last 80 pages of this, I promise, and then maybe I'll actually record my reactions to the end of this, because I know a lot of people recorded their reactions to reading the last chapter. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to end this here. This has been an extremely long vlog, but this was an extremely long and heavy book. So if you guys stuck around for this entire vlog, seriously, thank you guys. I love you so much. If you are not already following me on TikTok, go follow me there. I have been posting a lot of theory videos. I've even been doing some tarot readings for some specific theory plots questions with the characters. I've been doing a lot of live shows with my friend Olivia when it comes to this series. I'm all in. I am in my Boys of Tommen era once again. Well, actually, you know what? I have never left my Boys of Tommen era. I've been here since 2022. And I'm here to permanently stay. So as always, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.